Good evening. It's nice to see you here this evening. We welcome you to our city council meeting tonight. If you wish to speak to the council, please complete one of the blue cards that are on the end of the podiums here, or there's out in the back as you came in. There's a table out there with them. Please give your card to the city clerk. She sits right here. And when we call you to speak, we ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes and you avoid repetition. Thank you. Madam City Clerk, are we in compliance with the open meeting law?
We are in compliance.
Great. Tonight we're blessed to have Pastor Travis Fox of Grace Point Church, who will give us our invocation, followed by a dear friend of ours and a business owner, Aubrey Branch, of Branch Hernandez Insurance. He'll give us lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Do I need to push that? Okay. All right. Let's pray. God, I thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. And Father, I thank you for each and every one of these leaders and the position you placed them in. I ask you, God, for your grace to be evident in their life and that you give them wisdom and discernment, God, as they make decisions for the betterment of this community. And God, I pray for this community that as it continues to grow, God, that people will come to know the joy of you in their lives. And I just pray, Father, for your church in this community, that they will unite together as one body to seek the welfare of it. God, I thank you for your grace, and again, thank you for these leaders, and just pray as they go through this meeting tonight that your discernment and wisdom is evident in their lives. We thank you for Jesus, and we pray this in his name. Amen.
Hand over heart. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen, for gracing our meeting tonight. This is the time set aside for public comment on the posted agenda item. When I call your name, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. And we need to limit your comments to 3 minutes. This is on agenda items only.
Mayor, at this time, we have no blue cards.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's good. Presentation. Madam City Clerk, we're going to have a presentation recognizing Jack Prescott's voluntary efforts to rid the city of graffiti. Councilman Brown?
Thank you very much, everyone. Of course, it's a big honor to be here and to speak very favorably about really, we would say, an ideal person. I think a real community-minded person. I want to go ahead and just take a few minutes, if you don't mind, and backtrack. This next Tuesday, I'm going to have a town hall. What's kind of significant is, in my very first town hall that I had after I got elected, especially here in the downtown area, it was identified by the people who came to my town hall what their number one concern was. And it wasn't getting, robbed at gunpoint. It wasn't, dogs running the streets and all that. The number one concern, quite frankly, was graffiti. It was something, matter of fact, that not only the residents identified, it was prospective business leaders who they wanted to come into the community. They identified it as an issue, and I think we've really addressed it. I think we're taking great strides, and doing things to eliminate, to tamp it down. Our good friend Tom Martins and Greg Blackburn, they worked together with the rest of our city staff to put together a really good city-led program to address it. But it's always taken more than that. It's taken, quite frankly, I think the entire community to come together. In the community, of course, there's also these, people talk about points of light and all that, right? I myself, I think of fibers of muscle, right? And it's taken quite a bit of volunteerism. I know Grace Point Church has come together and done a lot of things, to help fight graffiti. there's some individuals I think who also need to be recognized, and that's what at this point, that's what this is about. Recognize one of those, really outstanding members of our community who has taken this task, taken the challenge, and instead of shirking it, leaving it for someone else. That's not my thing, right? Rolled up his sleeves and actually did something about it. And to this end, I want to recognize Mr. Jack Prescott, who he's one of these fellows who has taken on the cause of graffiti and has come forward, and quite frankly, has helped our community become just a little bit better. And so I'd like to present to you, Mr. Jack Prescott, the certificate of recognition presented this November 4th for his efforts and numerous volunteer hours to remove graffiti in the city of Las Vegas. On behalf of the mayor and the rest of the city council, thank you very much. And, well, thank you very much. Oh, would you like to say a few things? Okay, take your time.
I'd just like to say this is the best job I've ever had, except for the pay. And I actually want to do more because it has been fulfilling to volunteer for North Las Vegas. I work for great people. Tom is awesome, and they're so welcoming and so accommodating that it makes me want to do even more. And so it's awesome to be able to help. I can see the results of what I do, and for a long time I wasn't able to, and that's why it feels so good, is because you can actually see what you're doing. That's why.
Thank you very much. Let's get that little picture here. Just a couple of little closing thoughts as we take introduction. Number one, Jack said that. I think that the mayor's probably going to take advantage of you on that one, right? He's the kind of guy who's he likes to definitely utilize his resources. I might also say that Greg, when Greg was actually talking to a news reporter and they were doing like a feature on our graffiti program, to find graffiti. They actually couldn't find any graffiti in the downtown area here. They literally had to go into one of our sister municipalities here to find graffiti to take pictures of to use for their story. Which for me, that's incredibly gratifying. Good job, everybody. Thank you so much.
Madam City Clerk, please begin with tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Approval of regular City Council meeting agenda of November 4th, 2015 for possible action.
Council, any comments or questions on the approval of tonight's agenda as amended? If not, I will take.
Mayor and Council, there are 4 changes to tonight's agenda. The representative for the applicant has asked that items number 3 and 4 under public hearings be withdrawn. And staff has requested item 20 to be tabled until November 18th, 2015. And the representative for the applicant has requested items number 22 be continued to November 18 also, 2015. Recommendation is for approval of the agenda as amended.
I overlooked you. With Dr. Liu not being here, I went by. Our assistant
easy to
city
miss.
manager is running the meeting tonight. Thank you very much, Ryan. Council, any comments or questions on the approval of tonight's agenda as amended?
A move to approve is amended.
Please cast your vote. Motion passes.
On to item number 2, set future public hearing dates. Set date on any appeals filed or required public hearings from the City Planning Commission meetings.
Madam City Clerk, I so direct you to set any appropriate dates needed.
So noted, Mayor. Thank you. We're going to move on to public hearings. Item number 5. VAC 0515, Centennial and Valley North. An application submitted by Greystone Nevada LLC, property owner, to vacate a portion of a 5-foot utility easement east of Valley Drive from Minerals Water Drive to Clark County 215, a bus turnout on Valley Drive north of Centennial Parkway, and a right turn lane on Centennial Parkway east of Valley Drive for possible action.
Great, I'll open a public hearing. Ms. Miller, welcome here. Do you have a presentation or something you'd like to say?
Good evening, and Mr. Mayor and council members. A couple of weeks ago, the zoning for these new developments was approved, and these utility easement vacation requests are part of that application to complete the larger development goals for the 2 residential developments at Centennial.
Great, thank you very much. Is there anybody else wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion to approve this agenda item.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. Motion passes.
Item number 6, VACO 615, Centennial and Valley South. An application submitted by Greystone Nevada LLC, property owner, to vacate a 3-foot utility easement along the perimeter of the parcel and through the existing development for possible action.
Great. Item number 6, I'll open a public hearing on this. Do we have anybody wishing to speak? Once again, Ms. Miller, are you here for that item?
What I said previously addresses this item as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or questions on this? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Item passes.
Thank you very much.
We're now moving on to the consent portion of the meeting. Matters listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and may be approved by a single motion. However, any consent item may be moved to the business portion of the agenda for discussion at the request of any council member.
City Manager, do you have any recommendations?
I do, Mr. Mayor. Mayor and Council, the consent agenda consists of items number 7 through 16, and staff's recommendation is for approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions on the approval of the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Moving on to business. Item number 17, bid number 1478 and citywide pest control service agreement with Ecolab Incorporated in a total amount not to exceed $64,224, $21,408 annually for a term of 3 years with an option to renew for 2 additional 1-year periods to provide pest control services for all city facilities at various locations throughout the city for possible action.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item number 18, bid number 1479 and citywide toilet rental service agreement with A Company Portable Restrooms in a total amount not to exceed $300,000, $100,000 annually for a term of 3 years to provide portable restroom rental services at various locations throughout the city for possible action.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. Motion's approved.
Item number 19, agreement to use local government contract with Grove Madison Industries in a total amount not to exceed $348,087 per fiscal year with option to renew for 3 additional 1-year periods using the competitive bidding exception per NRS 332 Local Government Purchasing Act for the purchase of water reclamation facility components for possible action.
Great. Council, any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion's approved.
Moving on to ordinance introduction only. There is no public comment for these items and no action will be taken by the council at this meeting. If you wish to speak on any of these items, please attend the meeting where the final action will be determined and submit a blue card to the clerk. Item number 21, ordinance number 2735, An ordinance related to zoning, amending Section 010 of Chapter 16 of Title 17 of the City of North Las Vegas Municipal Code by reclassifying approximately 6.39 plus minus acres therein from a C2 General Commercial District to an R3 Multifamily Residential District, ZN 1115, Turkey Court and Valley Drive, for property generally located at the southwest corner of Valley Drive and Turkey Court, and providing for other matters properly relating thereto. Set final action for November 18th, 2015. Moving on to ordinances for final action, we'll go to item number 23, ordinance number 2733, an ordinance of the City Council of North Las Vegas, Nevada, to amend Chapter 13.04.020 of the North Las Vegas Municipal Code to incorporate the rate changes to add a drought protection charge as approved on December 10th, 2014 by the Southern Nevada Water Authority, and providing for other matters properly related thereto for possible action.
Thank you. I've got three people from the public who would like to address the board on this issue. Mr. Steve Schoaf, if you'd come first. Mr. Bouchard, if you would follow up behind him. And Justin Harrison, you would be the third person.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Steve Schoaf, 5622 Midnight Breeze Street, North Las Vegas, Nevada 89081. I have the same question this evening that I had the last meeting, and that was addressing how long this charge would be on our water bill. Is it going to be a perpetuity thing, or when we have the $640 million or whatever it is paid off, is this going to be removed from our water bill? That's a question I have this evening.
Thank you very much. Why don't I take you three, and what questions, we'll write your questions down, and I'll get somebody up here to answer them. Would that be okay, Steve?
That'd be great. Thank
Okay.
you.
So you want to know if there's a sunset on the tax?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Bouchard?
Okay, I don't have any questions, but I do have statements to make. I saw this coming 15 years ago when I moved here. We have this expensive bureaucracy. We're paying somebody $300,000 a year to make bad decisions. And anybody that reads the newspaper, anybody that has watched these documentaries about climate change knew this was coming. It looks like $300,000 a year people would know what's going on. They all thought this was going to go away magically. It's not. And now they want the taxpayers to bail them out for making bad decisions. And let me tell you some of the things they did. They allowed these houses to be built in Clark County totally water inefficient. They are still building houses in this community water inefficient. They should have had stronger codes, better codes, so much water doesn't get wasted. Now you're in the plumbing business, and you know the new trend now is to heat your water where you use it. We're not doing any of that. We're still putting the water heaters as far away from where we use it as possible. So every time you turn the tap, you have to waste all this water. And they say, oh, it ends up going back. Yes, yeah, some of it, but most of it gets evaporated. Most of it gets lost. And the other thing, I read somewhere that Southern Nevada Water District paid like $8 million to go to property owners and say, tear out your grass, and we'll pay 75% of the cost of going to desert landscape. We could have saved that $8 million by saying, hey, you're in a desert, you're not going to have grass. But the contractors wanted the grass. The contractors, don't care about water efficiency. They don't care about, any efficiency. My electric bill this summer was the highest electric bill in 15 years. And that's because the house is not energy efficient. The houses they're building now are not energy efficient. They're still using blown-in insulation, which is a waste. 45 years ago, I was helping my dad build houses, and we talked about blown-in insulation. He says it's a waste of time. We used the roll stuff, tacked it down, and we were building houses more energy efficient 45 years ago than now. We've got to wake up and do the right thing with new codes, because the desert's not going to go away, and neither is this drought. I got 29 seconds. Did anybody watch that program about climate change on the History Channel? Anybody?
The one with Vice
The
President?
one that says we got 15 years to fix the problem or it's going to be too late. Did anybody watch that? Was it just me? Did they put these shows on just for Gary Bouchard? They must.
I watched one with the Vice President. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, the one they did Sunday night.
Oh, I didn't see that. Maybe
It was
not
on the
that
History
particular.
Channel, and it was Bill Nye the Science Guy. And it was scary. Fortunately, I won't be here in 15 years either anyway, but I mean, my children will. So, hey, I'm concerned. I'd like to know when the government's going to get concerned. You know, the Republicans say there is no climate change.
Mr.
But just
Harrison?
because you don't believe it doesn't mean it's not there.
Mr. Harrison?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, Justin Harrison with the Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce, speaking on item 23 of today's agenda. The Metro Chamber would like to offer its support of the proposed water rate increases. Because of the transparent process that was used by the Integrated Resource Planning Advisory Committee, or IRPAC, the Metro Chamber believes that these proposed rates will be predictable and fair to ratepayers, as recommendations for financing the project are through a fixed fee and to be phased in over the next 3 years. We also support the efforts of the Water District to conduct business impact statements and town hall meetings to let people and business owners know about the proposed changes. We appreciate the commitment and transparency from the Las Vegas Valley Water District to engage the community about these necessary changes. Thank you for allowing me to provide remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Gary, Randy, do you know anything about the sunset? Or is that John? Should you take that on the sunset of the taxes? Maybe John should come up for that. Yeah. John Nemsinger, the president of the Southern Nevada Water Authority. I think that's your title, president? Or
General Manager.
General Manager, okay.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. So I think the best way to answer that, right now, the financing plan is to sell bonds in two groupings. So we're going to sell the initial group next year in 2016 and the second group in 2028. It's anticipated that those will be 30-year repayment bonds, so you'll have finally repaid that in 2048. And at that point, a future city council and, 2 or 3 general managers from now, the community can have that discussion about, whether that rate can come off of the water bills or whether there is, operation and maintenance costs that need to be addressed at that time.
Okay, so there is a sunset. Could you take up, discuss the, the recharge of the aquifer? We're doing that. We weren't doing that years ago. The return flow credits that go to the lake, some of the savings that have taken place. Mr. Bouchard mentioned about grass turf being given back. I think we're banking in Arizona. We're doing a lot of huge things. Maybe we could do more. But could you maybe address some of the concerns that Mr. Bouchard brought up, if that'd be okay?
Sure, absolutely. And I think when you talk about what we're doing in water, generally you should talk about it in terms of conservation, what we are doing on a resource side of things, and then the infrastructure needs. And in conservation, our community here, and it's North Las Vegas, it's Henderson, it's the city of Las Vegas, we're all in it together. We have reduced our net water use in the last 15 years in this valley by 33%. That's in aggregate. On a per capita basis, we've reduced our water use by 43% in the last 15 years. There's not a city in this country, a city in the world that can make those kinds of claims. So we really are a world leader when it comes to water conservation, and we've done that all within the same time period where our population has increased by 25%. So really kudos to the community for embracing a culture of living in the Mojave Desert and really starting to use a lot less water. In terms of resources, you mentioned aquifer recharge banking in Arizona. We've done a lot. We've recharged the aquifer here to the tune of about 330,000 acre feet of water. We've engaged with our partners in Arizona and California and banked in those states. So as we sit here today, we have a total of about 1.5 million acre feet of water in our various bank accounts, which is the equivalent of 8 years of our community's total water use. So we have extremely healthy reserves when it comes to water resources. Then on the infrastructure side, We're now, if you're drinking water in the city of North Las Vegas today, it's being pulled out of the third intake that we spent years and a lot of money completing, but that gives our community a lot of security. In combination with that intake, this pump station that we're talking about today will give us the ability to pump water out of Lake Mead, even if it gets to the point where the Bureau of Reclamation can't release water downstream to California, Arizona, and the country of Mexico. So we're going to be in an extremely secure physical infrastructure state once we complete this low lake level pumping station.
Thank you. Would you stay for 1 second? Getting to the building, I would have to disagree with Mr. Bouchard on the codes have changed drastically on shower head volumes of water, water closets, labs. Can you take a minute and talk that? And then if there's something else that, even though Mr. Bouchard thinks that maybe we're not doing enough, maybe there are some things we should listen to. Maybe there's things you could advise us to as a building department we should look into. Would you take that, Greg?
Absolutely, Mayor and Council. As you mentioned, the water conservation has been a more than a decade, 15 years effort, from low flow toilets, low flow fixtures. The turf restriction, I believe, went in 2004, plus or minus, where we didn't allow it anymore. And that was a social change because people grew up having grass in their front yard and just thought that was quality of life. So we learned how to decorate around it. California's contacting us saying, how did you do it? A little late to be asking those questions. So again, we have been a leader on making these changes. The Water Authority has been working on a national and an international level, raising the standards. They work with home builders and voluntarily raise the standards. So again, we're leading the nation on how to do it. Technology is part of it. It's one thing to demand a higher fixture toilet or lower flow toilet. Manufacturers are designing it right now. So again, you will see more and more conserving toilets. So if somebody goes to change out an old toilet, it'll be a newer low flow toilet. So people can reduce their water consumption now. The other energy consumption, we are building tighter homes and they're more energy efficient. There are things people can do to upgrade their homes. We'd be happy to talk to any of our residents to educate them on how to reduce their total energy consumption. So there's things we can do at older homes as well, sir.
I have some, but did you have anything to offer to that?
Well, you just asked the question in terms of what else can we be doing, and as Councilwoman Wood knows, the Water Authority took the step in the last couple of months to raise the turf rebate back up to $2 a square foot. We've still been making good progress on that program, but we had stalled out a little bit or maybe hit a plateau, so we wanted to re-energize the community through that incentive. And we're bringing back together through the Water Authority, we're bringing all of our member agencies together, so City of North Las Vegas staff together with the Water District, City of Henderson and Boulder City are going to be bringing the code people together to be taking a look at, okay, we've done great for 15 years, no time to rest on our laurels, what can we do next? And we see our role as the Water Authority, we're not a regulatory agency, but we can be a coordinating agency to bring all the staff from the region together, make those recommendations, and hopefully have uniform rules from Aliante to Anthem to Summerlin.
One thing I might, Greg, I know it's about $3,000 compared to about $800, is the on-demand water heaters. The water heaters that you don't lose those gallons of water before you get warm water, hot water out of your water heater. Is that something that's being discussed in the county? I know you can't retrofit every home in the past, but in the future, is there other things coming that maybe you guys are looking at?
Absolutely. The energy smart homes, water conservation homes, water smart, they're looking at every option out there, and the truly demand are on older homes. What's the right thing to do? On-demand water heaters are very expensive. And and on where the home layout is challenging to put in. So we're trying to help people on what they can do. So again, technologies is coming up, and we're doing everything possible. Again, so we don't want to set demands that the market can't meet the equipment to be able to supply it either.
Yeah, one interesting thing is that recirculating pumps work, but some homes don't have an electrical plug right near that location. It'd be hardwired in and stuff like that. We are saddled with past buildings, You know, there's no doubt about it. But I think Mr. Richard brought up a good point. We should always try to do better and better that we can. I appreciate you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Any more comments or questions? If not, I'll take a motion. Well, this is really not a court. You know, we did appreciate your comments, though, and we've tried to address them.
I disagree with some of the things that are being said up.
What's this?
You're not going to fix this.
Yeah, you'll be speaking in the second public forum, okay? So in this particular item. Thank you once again for participating. Council, any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion to pass and adopt this ordinance.
Move to approve.
Motion's approved.
Moving on to appointments, item number 24, appointment of an at-large citizen member to the Public Health Advisory Board for a 2-year term ending June 30th, 2015. This was
Thank you very much.
tabled.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. This was tabled October 21st, 2015, and it is for possible action.
Thank you. We have a physician, a chiropractor, Dr. Matthew Anderson, in our area. He's accepted the opportunity to serve on this board. We wanted to put people on these boards who have the credentials to understand the discussions going on around them, and he's graciously accepted this. So I'll make a motion that we appoint Dr. Matthew Anderson to this. Councilor, any comments or questions on the appointment of Dr. Anderson? If not, I'll take I made a motion. Just cast your vote.
Moving on to item number 25, appointment by Mayor Lee of a citizen member to the Traffic and Parking Advisory Committee to fill an unexpired term ending June 30th, 2017. Tabled October 21st, 2015 for possible action.
Thank you. We have a gentleman, Mr. Taylor Lilly, who's been excited to come and start being a part of our community, sitting on some of our boards. We've interviewed him. We think he's a wonderful person. Is there any comments or questions on this appointment? If not, I'll nominate Mr. Taylor Lilly. Our screen is, there it is.
And our final appointment, item number 26, recommendation on the appointment of Fraser Speaks, member, and Martin Johnson, alternate, as the City of North Las Vegas representatives to the Clark County Sewage and Wastewater Advisory Committee for an indefinite term for possible action.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions on this item of these two appointments?
Move to approve.
Motion's approved. City Manager report. Assistant Manager, do you have anything you just report at this time?
Mayor and Council, we have 4 reports. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to see. We don't have anything at this time, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Council, this is time for us to discuss any items we'd like to bring forward to the public. Do you have anything you guys would like to offer?
I guess I'll go first. Well, left to right here.
That's
Yeah, I just wanted to invite everyone and get the word out for a town hall that I'll be having, and of course with the very gracious help of staff. This next here, I want to make sure I get the time right here. It'll be next week, Tuesday, November 10th, at the Boys and Girls Club. The address is 2725 Donna Street. It's right next to station number 51. And it starts from 6 and we'll go till about 8 o'clock or so-ish. I invite everyone to come on out and please find out what's happening in our neighborhood. Also, I just wanted to point out that with the holidays coming, I know there's several events that are being sponsored by my colleagues here on the city council. I'm looking at doing another Christmas in the barrio kind of thing, as we say, on December 3rd. I know the councilwoman doesn't like me using the barrio thing, right? But that's just the name for it here, with our good friend Jeanette Revere and some entertainers from the community. That's coming up. It'll be here at the Silver Nugget coming up, and stay tuned for more information for that. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wood.
Well, I really just want to thank staff for doing such a great job. Everybody came together to celebrate Halloween, and I think really did a magnificent job at making a great holiday for the kids. I know that I went to the trunk or treat at Silver Mesa Rec Center. I appreciate the fire department having a truck out there, and the Parks and Recreation staff did a magnificent job. The Safe Halloween put on by our police department. I was a little concerned that it might not get the same number of kids there since it wasn't actually on Halloween this year, but that didn't seem to slow the kids down one bit. I think we're almost getting to the point where we need a second location, because there were about 2 hours of a wait for most of those people in line. But that tells you how important and needed it is that parents are willing to stand 2 hours in line to make sure their kids get to enjoy trick-or-treating and know that it's safe. So that tells you how important it is. So I thank everybody for going out of their way to really make that holiday special for the kids in North Las Vegas. And also for Parks and Rec, I got to go to the final concert, I guess it was, with Paul Rodriguez out at the Craig Ranch Amphitheater. We had a magnificent time. As a matter of fact, they were talking about maybe coming and filming their special at our facility, and we thought that would be perfectly okay. Cass and I were willing to approve that all by ourselves. Sure, come back. But no, I mean, the amphitheater, I think, is everything that we dreamed it would be, and the shows have just been terrific. The four that I went to. So I'm just really proud of North Las Vegas and our new amphitheater. It's just absolutely beautiful. So other than that, I came back from West Wendover, and we had a magnificent annual conference for the Nevada League of Cities. North Las Vegas thankfully played a big role, and hopefully we'll get more of us up there for the next annual conference in Sparks, and get you guys up there too. So that's it.
Thank you. We do appreciate you taking your valuable time to represent us at the League of Cities as a president and now as past president, and also for working our booth. The city council had a booth, and Amanda put it together, and you were there working it. We thank you for that. I see nobody else wishing to come forward at the time with city council, so we'll open public forum. Mr. Bouchard, would you like to come up now and take 3 minutes?
Yeah, about 3 months ago, the Water Authority paid a ton of money. I don't know the exact amount, for 2 documentaries. One aired on one local station, one aired on the other local station, and it was nothing but pablum and whitewashes, things to make the Water Authority sound like they're doing the right thing. They haven't done the right thing. I want to look at my house. House was built in 2001. I've checked my records. Did you know in 2001? North Las Vegas was a desert. The house I live in, okay, you think about retrofitting it? Okay, first of all, paid $195,000 for that house in 2001. You know what it's worth right now? $160,000, less than I paid for it. You know what they want? To refit it with double pane windows, go in there, fix the insulation problem, put energy efficient air conditioning in, $130,000. You know what the contractor told me? Don't waste your money, because when we pull the old windows out, the whole building's probably going to collapse anyway, because they said your house was never inspected. Your house is substandard. It was never inspected. So getting back to my feelings, I'm paying all the bills I can pay now. Every quarter, I got to, rob Peter to pay Paul to come up with my Clark County taxes. I can't afford any more money when they want more money because of mistakes they made. What they should, you're not going to fix this problem without a government mandate. You tell people, hey, listen, we're not going to pay you to do what's right. You moved here, it was a desert, you can't have grass. We've got 2 big projects in Clark County where they built an artificial lake in the middle of the desert. All the Lake of Las Vegas is one of them. All the environmentalists said, no, you can't do it. It's stupid. They do it anyway. The people that are the scientists, the people that know what's going on, are not being listened to. And we're going to pay the price.
Usually it's not my opportunity to debate you here, but your house was inspected. I can guarantee that.
Why is it built substandard then? I can show you homes they're built in 1965 that are more energy efficient than my home and better built.
They were
so whoever inspected it didn't know what he was doing.
Have you got artificial grass in your front yard now?
I have rocks in my front yard now.
Okay, so you're doing
I have
all that.
no grass. I did that on my own. I didn't take any money from Clark County. I did it on my own.
If there's anything unsafe about your house, we'll send Director Blackburn over there to verify that those windows can be replaced. If you have any of those concerns.
Wouldn't
Okay?
be cost effective anyway.
Well, you're right. Anyway, I appreciate you. Thank you for bringing these issues forward.
Okay, I have other issues. What do we do now? Or can I get another 3 minutes about the other issues? Or?
That's it.
Oh, that's it?
That's it. I have a.
Okay, I'll just take it up with the city manager then.
Thank you. Is there anyone
Thank
else
you.
who'd like to address the city council? Steve? Is there any chance you guys could sit near the front of the building?
You don't like see me walk up there every time? Steve Show, 5622 Midnight Breeze Street, North Las Vegas. Just a little food for thought. Where we lived before, it was called Smoke Ranch Pool and Tennis Club. They have a huge pool, monstrous pool. I think it's the largest privately owned pool in Nevada other than the hotels. And we managed to change, Gay and I, we kept going to meetings. Eventually we convinced the HOA board to move all the grass out. We were using 4 million gallons of water a month, and it went down to 180,000 gallons of water a month in water use. And the only reason I bring this up is when I drive past El Dorado and some of these other areas and I see all this grass, all the maintenance costs that they have there, it kind of frustrates me when I know how beautiful it can be if they just put in the desert landscaping. I don't know if you guys have any leverage with things like that, but it would certainly show some of the other HOAs or people that live in that area that have grass maybe to take it out.
One thing I'll mention, if you don't have trees, you don't have grass, you don't have oxygen, there is a balance that takes place, So I think you do bring up a good point, but we still have to have trees. We still have to have, but in the future, we're doing the best that we can. Mr.
And they did put in a lot of trees, but they're all desert trees, so they still have the shade and a lot of the other things. And I saw a thing on TV the other day about the ocean. Most of our oxygen comes from phytoplankton in the ocean anyway. So, the trees are a great thing, but the grass is just a huge water user. It's just food for thought. I didn't know if you guys had any leverage one way or the other on that. Thank you.
Well taken. We appreciate that. Is there anybody else that would like to approach City Council at this time? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.